All right. Belief equals slavery. Natural law equals freedom. I'm gonna try my best to explain how I got here to this point, to where that's what I see, and that's what I feel, and that's what I know that just those things are true. That belief equals slavery because it did for me. I want to try and explain how and how it relates to things, and that natural law does equal freedom, true freedom. Yeah. Now where from here? Belief. Belief in anything, belief in any concept or idea or anything that's been told or taught, doesn't matter, or something that's been heard, or even just something imagined, if it becomes a belief, you become a slave to that thought. That thought that was put there by however it was put there, you can become a slave to that thought. If that thought is destructive, if that thought is immoral, then it's an incorrect thought, not in line with natural law, because life shouldn't be using its ability and its energy to even manifest those types of thoughts that are destructive or harmful or whatever. It's a waste of energy, and it's a negative use of energy, and that builds. Acting on that belief is the actual enslavement of that belief. And acting on some beliefs actually, yeah, do cause slavery of all of us and just life in general and the use of life based off of a belief. So, there's somewhere else I wanted to go first, and I don't remember.
Well,
Oh,
self illumination and
yeah, that part. Yeah, definitely. I want to talk about what happened when my beliefs crumbled, which which I really, really needed because I was a slave to a whole bunch of beliefs of things I'd been taught growing up. Everything, everything I believed, and that's the thing. That belief, that thought, that piece of knowledge. That's all it is. It's an idea. It's a piece of knowledge that's tucked away up here in the brain, and that's all it is until it's distilled into wisdom. Is there wisdom in this thought or knowledge or this piece of energy that's manifested for whatever reason? Is there any wisdom to be found in it? And negative thoughts are good places to find wisdom because you can figure out. I've been able to figure out why those things were manifesting, and I've been able to stop them before they grow and they repeat, and those thoughts loop themselves and those beliefs loop themselves and play out like I played out the beliefs I had for so long. Any belief outside, see, some beliefs some beliefs are just fine to have. Beliefs in certain things and certain ways of life, they're just fine because they're not destructive, they're not harmful, they're good. They're good ideas, they're good thoughts, they're good ways of living. So those types of beliefs are fine. Those are just fine because they're not causing harm. However, they're still just a belief until they become wisdom. Once that knowledge and whatever is internalized, where the brain and the heart both know this, it doesn't come from a place of words. That's wisdom. Once it becomes wisdom, it becomes organic to the individual. It becomes a way of life. It becomes knowledge that's been distilled and felt until truth was found, real truth. Is there truth in it? Any around it? Any I can use? And if so, what is it? And now I know it, now I have it, now I can use it. Abortion. Here's something, and this is cause and effect. To me, belief is the cause, and the effect is slavery. Whether it's only an enslaved mind of a belief, which can be just fine if it's a right way of doing things, it's fine. That not be distilled into wisdom yet. But if it's destructive and harmful, if that belief is destructive or harmful to the self or other in any way, that's mind control. That's slavery. That's slavery, that internal slavery that individual is enslaved by in that belief that they act on. There's a lot are created so that they act on those beliefs to then enslave others or other life or use other life for their own purposes because their belief tells them it's okay to do when it's morally not. It's not okay. Because morals aren't relative. There's morally right, there's morally wrong. That's it. If an action causes harm to the self or other, or even nature, really, but especially here, I'm talking, if an action or something causes harm to a living being now, then that's morally wrong, period. Beliefs can't justify otherwise. I've come to find out, because to me the beliefs that I was taught, that I went by, it made me actually think that morals were relative. Maybe it's okay to hurt these people because someone said, hey, we need to go hurt these people because we're doing this or whatever for the good of whatever belief. Whether that belief is country or religion or money, those are all beliefs. Those are all beliefs, and they all tell people to do horrible things to each other and to other life in general. They do. And unfortunately, we are taught through repetition to internalize these types of beliefs and then act on them automatically to perpetuate the same belief that perpetuates the same enslavement that we're all experiencing still. And that makes us enslave each other and other life. And pretty much, I don't know, from what I can see, destroy the environment we live on in the process, all at the same time. Why? Because of beliefs, because somebody says it's the right way to do things, or that's the way things have always been done, so it's fine. It's not fine. And that's the truth. That's the real truth. That's the truth of natural law, that these things are wrong. And you don't need man's law to tell you that anything is wrong or right, because the heart knows what's wrong or right. And the brain can process and know instantly what's wrong or right if the heart can feel. And if that individual's perception is actually keyed in to the reality that they are actually standing in, and not their idea of the reality they're standing in that was created by others. Which happened to me, and that's why I say it in the way I say it, because that's what happened to me. I found myself in someone else's multiple versions of reality when all my beliefs kind of crumbled, and I looked at things for myself. So abortion, let me get back to the abortion thing. So abortion, is it right or wrong? Well, it's wrong. It's morally wrong, because you're killing another life. And then here come the buts. But there is no but with truth. I'll explain. Because a but very quickly is, and I thought thought this same but before myself. But what about a woman that gets raped? What about this, that, and the other? It doesn't work because those actions of the rape or this or that or whatever assault is causing, that's an individual incorrectly and immorally acting to cause harm on another individual. That situation should have never existed in the first place in a society that is taught morals right from the start and taught them correctly and taught them to be known to be true morals and behavior and actions for all of us that we should all act in, because that's the way of nature and our nature. It really is our way. We were just taught incorrectly. So then, along with all the crazy beliefs and whatever other whatever other psychological problems develop within individuals who are so totally imbalanced unnaturally in their mind and their thought process, their logic and their creativity, their whole perception of reality, they go out and they act in these immoral ways and they cause these situations for then others to argue about, when all of these situations, they shouldn't be occurring in the first place. These situations occur because the society has been set up in such a way to live so close, so packed together in this grid pattern system of other people's thoughts and ideas, how things should go and how things just are, that they're born into it, they're stuck in it, and they're actually unrealizingly so insane, and have been most since birth. And that was done on purpose to us, to all of us, folks. It doesn't matter what your skin color is, what your gender is. It doesn't matter what you believe in, what you don't believe in. It really doesn't matter. If you exist in today's modern day society, then you exist in a society of slavery, period. That's the truth. And that's a hard, ugly, ridiculous truth, but it's the truth that I see. Doesn't mean I'm right, and I hope I'm wrong. And I hope things are being done right now, at this very moment, to correct these very problems. Because natural law does equal freedom. And beliefs do equal slavery, and beliefs have caused all the problems that we're experiencing right now, only because they were taught over and over and over again in different ways, different forms. Along with a whole bunch of programs specifically designed to drive society into this unnatural, materialistic, narcissistic state of repeating knowledge that they've heard or gained or acquired wherever they've acquired it incessantly to each other, to prove that they are right, that they know something that someone else doesn't know. That's what I had to accept for myself, was I had been doing that very thing for almost my whole life. An example. Darwin's theory of evolution, Copernicus, the heliocentric model. Newton, theory of gravity. Just those three things, those theories that were taught to me as a little kid, and then reinforced by TV shows, programming, cartoons, movies, comic books, blah, 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 etc. I was firmly convinced that all of us here, again, regardless of skin color, because this isn't a skin thing, this is a living being, man or woman, in a physical body with a working mind, heart, blood pumping type of thing, that all of us are. Just we're different shades of, the same thing, as far as I can tell, whatever. Anyway, where was I going with that? Oh, with those three theories, I was convinced that I lived on a spinning ball in space that was screaming through the universe at thousands of miles per hour, stuck to it by this magic force named gravity. And then we're all these evolving monkey folk on this space ball just rocketing through the cosmos, a speck amongst other specks in this infinite vast of everything. Well, that's a real great way to make an individual to feel like a less than, less than, because that's absolutely ridiculous to me after I really started to sift through the knowledge that was in here and then really start to look and discern and really dig into different areas of research to really see through the falsehoods of all these different schools of thought and systems that have been set up, and man's authority all along the way being repetitively driven throughout. There's always someone else who's an authority on things, right? There's always someone else you're supposed to go to get the answer, right? Always someone you're supposed to go look to see if you're allowed to do this or that or the other. Why? Because they hold some title, some word, some label. Through virtue of, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's through virtue of, it really doesn't matter. It's bestowing a label and a title on an individual being to try and make them more than another individual who does not share that same label or title. And what are those? Those are more examples of beliefs. I believe that this label means something to me, that makes me more than it makes someone else. Nope. That's an incorrect and actually it's a harmful thought. Because now you're putting pedestals up. You're playing the less than, more than game with life itself. And putting yourself in the position of being the judge of that. To me, I'm not in a position to judge anything. So don't take my words the wrong way either, whoever might happen to hear this, because it's not from a place of judgment. It's only from a place of the wisdom I've kind of been able to distill from actually looking at my reality after my beliefs kind of crumbled. And I'm not saying anything about what shape is what is what out there in this. Because I don't know for sure, and I'm not claiming to. What I do know is I know the simple truth of now moral right versus moral wrong and natural law, cause and effect. These simple types of things. And I understand the simple aspects of nature and just how deep and profound the very simple aspects of nature itself are. And how they're used together, how they can be used together in harmony with each other. So let me read this I wrote about natural law. I was trying to condense things. Because I'm not one to write rules, but I wrote it down anyway. But it's not that it's rules for anyone to follow, but it's rules I follow. So I wrote natural law. Know thyself fully and wholly. That's mind, body, and spirit. That's serious. That's how the mind functions. That's how the personality functions. That's how thoughts function. It's how the physiological systems in the body function, or at least an idea. Tied together spiritually, energetically, all together. It's an understanding, it's an inner standing like that. To really, really, truly know thyself like that, fully and wholly. And that's where you gain all the responsibility, when you take responsibility for what you find inside and your ability and your potentiality And that's where you find love for yourself and care in the right way to function, and that's in truth and being able to distill and perceive truth. So I continue. And this was just number one. Number one, I wrote like 5 things the first time. So number one, I put, know thyself fully and wholly. Protect self, nurture self. Protect other, nurture other. When needed. Protect other, nurture other. When needed. That's important to me. That's a recent one I kind of figured out that I was doing wrong. Is that I was trying to overprotect or over nurture still in a way from the mind that the heart didn't quite get that lesson, and I was actually then impeding on someone else's experience, so to speak, because I was speaking too much when it wasn't needed. So I added that. Protect nature, nurture nature. That's just nature in general. It's where we live. It's all this nature. It's just nature and life. Be a steward of life without fear or greed. So that was number one. I wrote all those. But it's really simple, really. It's just to know yourself fully, mind, body, and spirit. Protect and nurture yourself. Protect and nurture other life, and just nature itself in general. So then number 2, I put act responsibly. I can't even read my own writing. Act responsibly in accordance with above while below. And I wrote that just because of the as above, so below part. But while we're here below the sky above us, while we're below the sky here in the physical world, just act in accordance with the above. And then number 3, just I put exist / learn / teach in harmony. Just to me, that little bit, if conveyed deeply enough, early enough, or even right now, it doesn't matter when. Taking that, internalizing that, until it's a knowing that comes from wisdom, is what will fix everything, in my humble opinion. And then I did like a little shorter one. I'd start writing some more. I put number 1, know thyself fully and wholly again. Then I put - wisdom, which is what I was just talking about. Distilling the actual good out of all the knowledge that's in there, to include the beliefs. So a lot of the beliefs hold a lot of good knowledge and truths that are all interspersed and mixed in, but they're not necessary. They're not necessary to get this simple, but real profound, deep way of feeling and perceiving reality, and then acting and interacting with life, as a living being, as a true part of life in this experience. Yeah, just anyway. So yeah, and then I put number 2, protect and nurture all life. And that I put care. That's care. And then 3, act and create in inner and outer harmony. Act and create in inner and outer harmony. And that's because of our ability to think and conceptualize, or not, or to just be trained. Just be trained to make things, to create. Whether we're creating, it doesn't matter what's created. But if what's being created is harmful, again, that's immoral. And I know there's a lot of activities out there that people do that folk do for the belief of money. that are immoral, the jobs themselves, the things themselves, the tasks themselves. They're immoral because they cause harm in what's created as it goes out into the world. And that's something that all of us that come up in this kind of system have to deal with. I had to deal with it myself in my past, and my actions help perpetuate, the whole, the whole slavery and use of life. Like when I used to eat meat, this and that, and I used to think it was okay for life to be used in such a manner because to me, that life was less than mine. And that was totally immorally wrong of me. So that's just one example. The other was my job in the military and actually deploying and actually acting to harm others because why? The government told me to. The government said those are bad guys. Go fight them. That was absolutely 100% my fault for following orders like that, for being an order follower. There was immoral, incorrect action, behavior, the thoughts, even the thoughts of it, and how they repetitively would play out different scenarios, this and that, and how to conduct, combat operations against my fellow living men and women and beings. It was wrong. So the whole time I was causing quite a bit of damage, or a lot of damage was being caused in just the information I was intaking and then repeating and acting out in repetitive fashions to learn robotically, to repeat when I was told to do so. And that's really what I realized, that I'd become a robotic automaton running around in society without my own perception even of reality. And from there, that's when I want to get into some of this stuff. Because I really had to look at reality differently with my own two eyes. I had to look with my own two eyes and not take anyone's word for anything. I'll stop there for now. Yeah, you might stop in that.
yeah, I got you.